In the tense moments leading to the invasion, Napoleon often found himself overwhelmed by the weight of command, visibly burdened as he strategized over maps in his grand war room. However, his decision to invade Russia in 1812 is widely considered the single greatest military gamble of his career, a fatal mistake that cost him everything. A major catalyst was Napoleon's continental system, enacted by the Berlin Decree on November 21, 1806, designed to cripple Britain economically by blocking trade. Russia's defiance of this system, which imposed severe economic hardship, put Napoleon on a direct crash course with Tsar Alexander I, escalating tensions considerably. In preparation for the invasion, Napoleon assembled the Grande Armée, an unprecedented force of 600,000 soldiers, the largest army ever seen in Europe. This colossal army comprised not only French soldiers but also conscripts and allies from across Napoleon's empire, including Germans, Poles, Italians, and Austrians. On June 24, 1812, Napoleon's Grande Armée began its fateful invasion, crossing the Niemen River into Russian territory, marking the beginning of a catastrophic campaign. From the outset, the vast distances and poor Russian infrastructure created immense logistical challenges, straining supply lines for the enormous army. The Russians employed a scorched earth policy, retreating and destroying crops, wells, and villages, denying the invaders any resources and inflicting starvation. Disease, particularly typhus, dysentery, and pneumonia, ravaged the Grande Armée. Coupled with dwindling supplies, these conditions led to widespread desertion and death. Russian forces, under Generals Barclay de Tolly and later Kutuzov, largely avoided pitched battles, drawing Napoleon deeper into Russian territory, stretching French lines. In August 1812, Napoleon finally engaged Russian forces at Smolensk. Capturing the city proved a costly victory, further depleting his already weakened Grande Armée. As Napoleon pressed eastward towards Moscow, the Russians finally decided to make a stand, leading to the devastating Battle of Borodino. On September 7, 1812, the Battle of Borodino erupted, one of the bloodiest single-day battles of the Napoleonic Wars. Though Napoleon claimed victory, both sides suffered horrific casualties, with estimates ranging from 70,000 to 80,000 killed or wounded in a single day. A week later, on September 14, 1812, Napoleon triumphantly entered Moscow, only to find the city largely deserted by its inhabitants. Soon after their entry, massive fires erupted across Moscow, believed to be set by retreating Russians, engulfing the city and drastically limiting French winter quarters and supplies. Napoleon, accustomed to warmer climates, failed to anticipate the brutal Russian winter, a critical miscalculation that would prove devastating. Napoleon lingered in Moscow for over a month, hoping for a peace offer from Alexander I, but the offer never came, trapping his army deeper as winter approached. On October 19, 1812, with no peace in sight and winter growing harsh, Napoleon finally ordered the retreat from Moscow, a decision that sealed his army's doom. Temperatures plummeted to far below freezing, with blizzards and deep snow enveloping the retreating forces, exposing them to the full wrath of the Russian winter. Without adequate food or shelter, starvation became rampant. Frostbite crippled countless soldiers, leading to amputations and agonizing deaths along the frozen route. Cossack cavalry units constantly harassed the flanks and rear of the Grande Armée, launching swift, brutal attacks on stragglers and slowing the retreat. Thousands of horses died from cold and starvation, leaving artillery, supply wagons, and wounded soldiers abandoned on the frozen roads, further crippling the army. The crossing of the Berezina River in November 1812 became one of the most infamous episodes, a desperate struggle against Russian attacks and the freezing waters. French engineers bravely worked in freezing conditions to construct makeshift bridges over the Berezina, suffering immense losses to allow a portion of the army to pass. On December 5, 1812, Napoleon secretly left the remnants of his Grande Armée near Smorgon to return to Paris, seeking to preserve his political power. By the time the Grande Armée limped back across the Niemen River in December 1812, only a fraction of its original 600,000 soldiers remained. The total losses were catastrophic. Estimates suggest over 400,000 French and Allied soldiers died from combat, starvation, disease, and the extreme cold. Almost all of the Grande Armée's cavalry and artillery were destroyed or abandoned, leaving Napoleon severely weakened and vulnerable. The Russian campaign irrevocably crippled Napoleon's military power and shattered the aura of his invincibility across Europe. News of the Grande Armée's destruction emboldened other European powers, who immediately began forming a new coalition against the weakened French emperor. A year later, in October 1813, Napoleon faced the combined forces of this sixth coalition at the Battle of Leipzig, or the Battle of the Nations. The French suffered a decisive defeat at Leipzig, marking another significant blow to Napoleon's dwindling military strength and territorial control. Following Leipzig, Allied forces invaded France in early 1814, directly threatening Paris and leading to Napoleon's eventual abdication. On April 11, 1814, Napoleon formally abdicated his throne at Fontainebleau, an event directly hastened by the catastrophic Russian campaign. He was then exiled to the small Mediterranean island of Elba, a temporary reprieve before his dramatic return. Less than a year later, in March 1815, Napoleon escaped Elba and began his 100 days attempt to regain power in France. Ultimately, Napoleon's second reign ended at the Battle of Waterloo on June 18, 1815, where he suffered his final decisive defeat against Allied forces. This time, Napoleon was exiled to the remote, isolated island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, ensuring he could never return to power. Napoleon Bonaparte died on St. Helena on May 5, 1821, a fallen emperor whose ambition ultimately led to his downfall. The Russian campaign unequivocally stands as Napoleon's biggest strategic mistake, directly leading to the collapse of his continental empire. It highlighted the dangers of overstretched ambition, illustrating how even the greatest military genius could be undone by environmental and logistical realities. The campaign also underscored the immense power of nature, where the Russian winter proved a more formidable foe than any army. Logistical failures, often overlooked in military history, became a central lesson from the Russian campaign, showcasing their critical importance in warfare. The loss of 400,000 highly trained soldiers and almost all of his cavalry and artillery greatly diminished France's military capacity for years to come. The brutal invasion also fueled a growing sense of nationalism across Europe, galvanizing resistance against French domination. The Russian campaign dramatically shifted the balance of power in Europe, weakening France and strengthening the coalescing Allied nations. Many historians view the Russian campaign as a testament to Napoleon's personal hubris and his overestimation of his own strategic brilliance. He often ignored the advice of his generals and diplomats, stubbornly pressing forward with his plans despite warnings about the harsh climate and vast distances. Leaving Dresden to invade Russia was indeed Napoleon's biggest strategic blunder, a gamble that cost him hundreds of thousands of well-trained soldiers. Some historians argue that forgiving Austria and Prussia earlier was also a major error, allowing them to later join the coalition against him. His inexplicable practice of promoting incompetent family members to thrones across Europe also alienated many countries, yielding little strategic benefit. The ongoing Peninsular War in Spain, often referred to as the Spanish Ulcer, also drained French resources and manpower, contributing to his overall decline. The Russian campaign marked a profound turning point in European history, signaling the beginning of the end for Napoleonic dominance. Each mistake, from the continental system to the Russian invasion, created a domino effect, gradually eroding his power and ultimately leading to his downfall. Napoleon's Russian campaign serves as a powerful cautionary tale about the perils of ambition unchecked and the devastating consequences of strategic miscalculation. The lessons from 1812 continue to resonate, offering insights into military strategy, logistics, and the unforeseen impacts of geopolitical decisions. Napoleon's legacy remains complex, but 1812 undeniably stands as the pivotal moment when his meteoric rise began its irreversible decline. The snows of Russia ultimately buried not just hundreds of thousands of soldiers, but also Napoleon's dreams of a lasting European empire. If you found this exploration of Napoleon's biggest mistake insightful, subscribe for more captivating historical documentaries and analyses.